Friday. Let me know how the sound is. The like last few lives and videos have been using this little mic thing that I got off Amazon. However, I think the part that like would attach to the phone is dead. But I also can't really tell. There's not like a clear indication. It's just not like linking. And so I think that means that one of the attachments is dead, the attachment that one of the cats tossed onto the floor. So let me know if the sound is okay, y'all. Do 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 do. So I have about an hour. Now, of course, I should have posted earlier that I was going to be doing a live like what I did on Monday where I sent out a little, something. Oh, hi, Cuban. It sounds fine. Okay, good. Thank God. But I should have put out a post. But that's something that I wanted to talk about because I have been really struggling with time management lately in like a pretty serious way. Like I am really and it's because I've never had so many elements in my life, like the way that I have right now and balancing everything, where I don't have a 9 to 5 job. I don't have like any sort of stable job at all. Every way that I make income is pretty random and sporadic. So that means I don't have a clear schedule ever. And then I'm trying to build my YouTube channel around that, and I'm trying to dedicate more energy because I'm so close to monetization. I'm like, oh man, I really need to like gas it up. I really need to that sounds stressful. Well, first off, hey, welcome to the live. It can be, but it's a kind of stress I prefer over 9 to 5s. Something about the monotony of like having something that never changes every day or like the 5 days a week, I actually can't handle. I genuinely, it like makes my brain go nuts. Because if I could, then I would. Like, I understand how in a lot of ways that's easier. In theory, that should be less stressful. Getting to a point where, like, let's say you have a salary or benefits. Like, I understand the appeal of that sort of life. I cannot do it. I have never been able to do it. And even when I dip my toes in it, I have never lasted long because I just not the way I want to move through the world. However, I've also never had these many elements stacked on top of each other before. So it's been like between the Airbnb and my small business in which I'm dealing with clients via email or with the website. But I'm also going in person to these events when I'm contracted out for them. And then trying to build this YouTube channel on top of writing my book. Yeah, it's been kind of a lot, and my time management skills have not been on top. And that's not even talking about any personal stuff, like maintaining relationships and my like seeing my family or my pets, and I have to deal with my pets all the time. And I think, everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. So I have to find a way other people can manage this level of stress or more, or this level of obligations or more. So I know on some level it is a me issue. Absolutely. Hi, Epic Troll and Face. Well, I love that name. But yeah. Anyway, so that's what I'm like top of mind, but welcome everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I have an hour to hang and chill. It's Friday. It's like end of day Friday. So like if you're an adult and can have adult fun beverage stuff, then you should, because I am. But I also have a game night tonight with some friends. So I have that to look forward to. So that's not to say that like my life is horrible by any means. I'm just trying to fit it all in as much as I can and be as productive as possible. With my productive hours, I need to get as much done and I'm not. And so I need to do some introspection, figure out where I'm failing and where I'm falling short in that regards. And I think a lot of it, unfortunately, is the phone. As much as, I've been I can read on here. I got my laptop specifically so I can stop like zooming into the phone because fun fact, I don't have the best vision in the world. It's not terrible, but it's not 2020. My fun beverage is a Cuban coffee, aka rocket fuel. I love Cuban coffee. That is awesome. I'm a huge caffeine addict, actually. This is also partially caffeine. I don't know if I should say that, but I'm like definitely a heavy caffeine drinker. I was a barista for many years in my early 20s. Like the first half of my 20s, I was a barista. So I'm like very much fueled by coffee. That is a necessity, non-negotiable. Not interested in ever, like people talk about giving up caffeine to feel better. It will help me sleep, blah, blah, blah. Not interested. Will never do that. Don't tell me you feel better. I don't care. Or it helps with your sleep. Don't care. But that sounds awesome. Drain my bank account. Well, hi, Easy. Per Ansies. Sorry, I'm so bad at reading fucking names like that, but a deal. Are the time management expectations self-imposed or external? First off, Slagathor, thank you so much for joining the stream, and thank you so much for asking such a introspective question. I would say 40% external, 60% what do you say, self-imposed. So because something like Airbnb, my main issue there is that I'm the one cleaning it, right? So I occasionally hire a cleaner to do like a big reset, but 90% of the time it's me doing it because it's my house, so I understand how to. And so that's something where it's like when I need to do a turnaround, that's entirely on me to figure out. But when it comes to my book, when it comes to YouTube, I mean, these are self-imposed. These are just things that I want to be successful at. So I'm the only person that can make myself do it. And both with my book and with YouTube, I'm not making money off this stuff yet. So it's not even like I have the, I like to think that one day along the lines, I'll, make money or meet any of you or meet future readers, but I am not there yet. So it is just entirely moving myself forward, and that can be hard. It's even if you love it, especially, I don't know, gosh, especially when I'm tired and especially when you just can get distracted. I get distracted. I shouldn't say you. You probably don't get distracted. I'm sure you guys are amazing at these things. Is Findom allowed here? I'm gonna say sure. I'm not, but I don't even think that's set up yet. I don't think I have any way to make money off YouTube, which is fine. I am doing what I can to get monetized and get those watch hours in case you guys don't know, when it comes to getting monetized on YouTube, there was a time where it was easy. There was a time where they were all videos on YouTube were automatically monetized. That's like 15 years ago. And then there was a time where you just had to get 10,000 views. I would have been monetized 6 years ago if that was the case, but then everything changed after Elsa Gate, if you guys remember that blow up, and that changed everything with YouTube, and now it's so hard. So you need 1,000 subscribers and you need 3,000 watch time hours within 1 calendar year and 3 videos within a month. Like it's just a ton of things that you have to meet, and the 3,000 watch time hours is not easy, definitely not easy. It's been better since I started doing live streams. That's something that I heard almost simultaneously from a podcast that I was listening to, and then when I was asking ChatGPT, which I don't use very often, but I was asking in this regard, and both of them suggested live streaming. And I was like, oh, I've just been resistant to it because I'm kind of bad at tech. So it always intimidated me a little bit. But it turns out it's really easy. So now I kind of like the live streaming. And I definitely like being able to talk to you guys. Um, Cuban, after a while of drinking so much coffee, it puts me to sleep naturally and it tastes delicious. And the ancestors like it so. And the ancestors like it. Well, yes, I agree. It is the best. That's like, you're just speaking my language. I'm like, you're right. And my ancestors do like it. Oh, because you're Cuban, probably. Duh. That's so cool. Yeah, no, big fan. Big fan. Although I don't have Cuban coffee specifically very often. You won't believe it, but here in Iowa, there's not a big Cuban population. So when I go out to the East Coast, especially obviously to Florida, that's like the best Cuban coffee I've ever had in my life was down there. Um, get the super chat function. Bruh, I don't think I can. I think I need to have more watch time hours before I can do that. Like I think I need 1,000 watch time hours or something before, I don't know. But what do I know? Hi Matthew, trying to date you. I'm a writer and pretty sure we can write some good romance novels. Are you looking for a guy friend? Well, I'm always looking for friends, especially now. If you guys haven't seen my video where I talk about getting canceled from my friend group here in Des Moines, I am like very much low on friends. I used to have so many friends I couldn't get any. That was always my excuse for why I couldn't get anything done, was because I have too many friends. Obviously, that's a bullshit excuse. You can have plenty of friends and still get things done as long as you have like good boundaries with them, which I did not, and that's nothing to do with them and everything to do with me. But also I got canceled, so all to say is yeah, looking for friends always. But that's cool that you're a writer. Congrats. What kind of stuff do you actually work on, romance stuff, or what do you like to work on generally? I'm a fantasy girl, and I'm actually, now, when I wrote fan fiction, it was obviously very romantic. I say obviously, but actually I haven't really written that much romance. I really haven't. The way that I like to experience romance and fiction is that it's on the edges of things. And then if anything more explicitly is said or is done, it's like such a burst of excitement because this tension has been building, but it's not the focus. If it's the focus, I actually tend to think it's less fun and I lose interest in it. I like when, you know, we have like other plots and other characters and other relationships, and it's just like on the edge of things. So that's how I like my romance. So I really haven't written that much like explicit romantic, basically anything. I always just want it, you know, here and there, like sprinkled in. Keep your interest, but there's other things going on. I think when everything is all romance all the time, doesn't it get stale? Do you guys find it stale or boring? Yep, Cuban and Santero. So me and my sister both prepare a cup of coffee and the ancestors on our altars. I love that so much. I love altar work. That's something that's like actually like, oh my gosh, making my heart sing right now. I think that's so cool. That's not something that's certainly ever been done in my family. Like that's not something I've ever witnessed. Like I know it obviously exists, but I don't witness that. I don't know anybody who does that, and I think that's the coolest shit ever. Yeah, I grew up in a very atheistic household, pretty like anti-religious and anti-spirituality. Like I didn't know Christmas was a religious holiday. I didn't know Easter was a religious holiday for a really long time. And I was like very much taught that like talking about the soul like is an expression but isn't real. Ghosts aren't real, devil's not real. Like I've never grew up with any of that. So it's something that deeply fascinates me, and the idea, and I think it's like just healthy, you know, whether it's placebo or it's like really deeply true to you, having that practice with, your ancestors and people who have passed, having some sort of connection. They've like done studies on this, like when children lose parents or a guardian, having some sort of connection to them where they like talk to them still, whether it's formalized in a ritual or it's just like with their dolls or whatever, and not like in a stressful way, but it like helps them with the grieving process. So I don't know, I think that's basically as cool as it can possibly be. um am I a Jew? I can tell. No. No, not at all. um Creed, that's not a nice comment. It's definitely poking at something, I'll say that. Sounds very pagan Cuban. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with paganism. So let's start with that. Now, I'm deeply drawn to Catholicism, and they do a lot of practices like that. And I'm drawn to paganism, which really is just an umbrella term for anything that isn't strictly Christian, or Abrahamic. So, or under the like Abrahamic religious umbrella. And I think there's a lot of like beautiful folk religions and religious thought that's, yeah, I'm very, very, very drawn to. I'm Celtic origins, I guess, Celtic, Irish and German and Scot-Irish and Welsh. So I've like done some deep, also for my book, some deep research onto those sorts of like pre-Christian folk religious practices and magic and all that. Love that shit. Oh, you're pagan too? Oh, that's awesome. Good for you. Like to know, in voodoo, Badon Samadi likes coffee, and in Greek paganism, Zeus loves it. I do love that. I don't know who Baton is in voodoo. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with voodoo. But I will definitely look into it, and I like that they like coffee. Thank you. Well, shout outs to having green eyes. You know, it's very real. Kelpie. Yeah, yes, exactly. Kelpies. Kelpies are one of the, I actually have a video on Kelpies. You know, so there's Kelpies, this is all, that is a creature in Scottish folklore. But yeah, Kelpies and Selkies, and they have a bunch of fun, creepy, weird, which is my favorite. I like when they're like kind of creepy, a little bit sinister. Those are my favorite types of folk stories. You're Irish, very nice. Yeah, I think that's, you know, the Irish green. Samadhi come to the New World out of Africa. I've only heard of the LOA out of the New World. So Slagathor, by LOA, do you mean law of attraction? And are you saying like law of attraction coming out of like coming out of the West? Voodoo god of the Baron, I should speak this out loud. Baron Samadhi is the voodooan god of the cemetery, and he protects the dead. And the LOA, oh, okay, it's a god of gods of voodoo. Okay. Loa, I imagine the Loa exist in West Africa, and it's just that their names were changed slightly in Hatiti with the Creole. That's so cool. I love how much you know about that kind of stuff. That is a portion of spirituality that I'm drawn to, but I've never done a lick of research on. But it's one of my favorite things, like whenever it shows up in TVs and movies. Frankly, they never talk about it enough, I think because probably not a lot of people know about it. I don't know, maybe that's not true, but at least on the TVs and movies that I've seen, I always want them to spend even more time on it because it's so interesting and creepy, but cool and beautiful. Loa for typing too fast. No, 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 that is a gift. Typing fast is a wonderful, wonderful gift. Especially if you can type fast and accurately. I can technically type fast, but I am not accurate at all. But yeah, that's really cool. Thank you so much for, hitting us with said knowledge. But oh, you guys, you guys, you guys. I'm so happy that I get to hang out with you and like take a minute. But in case any of you all missed earlier this stream, I was lamenting on the fact that I have terrible time management and I'm really struggling to get done everything I need to get done in a day. But I also know that the vast majority of it is my fault and my issues and not necessarily, I feel like I should be able to get everything done that I need to get done in a day if I was better at time management. I pulled out, I was like, maybe, I'll like look at my planner more on stream or something. I don't know. The amount of physical planners I have, I probably have like 15. I almost never touch them. I go through bouts where I'm very committed to it and then I always fall off. And I fall off because my schedule changes so sporadically. Like I don't have a set 9 to 5. I don't have a set job. I don't have set hours. I'm a freelancer, business owner. So everything is all over the place. Oh, well, Matthew, I do have an email linked. You can certainly try. I mean, I'm not like an e-girl and I'm not I don't know, a sexy time girl. Like shout outs to them, but that's not me. But I love talking to you guys over stream. I like talking to you guys. What's this live about? Thank you so much for asking. It's me hanging out. It's Friday fun day. That's what it is. I'm not really bothering with having much of a structure in this stream. I'm just hanging out for like another 40 minutes before I have to pop off and deal with dogs and social obligations and stuff. So, we're all over the place. We're just having a good time. So grab an adult beverage if you're an adult and if you're so inclined to. Isn't it annoying that I have to like caveat that all the time? I saw one of your shorts where you mentioned makeup. I didn't think that people use that anymore. It's refreshing. Really? I mean, I used to be, man, if we want to talk about when I first got on YouTube, I used to be a heavy makeup user. But I was also a theater person, so I got really into learning how to do like theater makeup. I also did princessing back in the day where I literally dressed as different usually Disney princesses to go to like children's birthday parties. So I literally had to learn how to transform my face for the different types of princesses. So all's to say is I got really into makeup and I got pretty good at it. It's definitely not the style anymore to have very loud, flashy makeup, but yeah, I'm a girly girl at heart. Like always will be. And I agree. I think the older I get, the more friends of mine I see or women I know kind of fall off of doing it, probably because they're busy, especially if they have kids. But I can tell you right now, that's not going to be me. Like I just genuinely like it too much. It's too much fun. If anything, sometimes I wish I cared less about my appearance because it definitely takes up a good chunk of my day, but I just enjoy it too much. I have too much fun. Oh, yes. Yeah, I have my eye. So actually my inspiration, I knew I wanted a palm tattoo. And when I was looking up, and I didn't know what, I just knew I wanted it on the palm. And so I was looking up inspo pics. And so and I knew I wanted it on this hand and not this hand because I already have tattoos on this hand. But when I was looking up inspiration, it was either very, very, very masculine or flowers, but I already have a flower here and I'm like not that obsessed with flowers. And then I was listening to the audiobook of A Court of Thorns and Roses, the second time listening to it, and the main character, through magical means, a like magical fae, basically like magically, so not a tattoo, but it basically looks like a tattoo, and it's a eyeball on the palm of her hand. And the second I heard that, I was like in my car and I was like, oh, that's it, that's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do an eye. So when I went to the tattoo artist, my one thing was that it has to be a girl eye. It has to be a lady eye. So she has eyelashes. But, you know, and it hurt really bad, but it wasn't the most painful one I've ever had, believe it or not. Those are the ones on my spine. Those ones are brutal. Show us one of your dogs. No, they have to stay out of the room. They got to stay out of the room for now, because otherwise it's the time of day where they'll start getting really needy and they'll want me to go on walks it's like we're getting near walk time, so they'll just be like all over me. So they cannot. I've been researching the 80s, and the fashion makeup from 1979 to 1989 is fascinating. I had to look up what that means because, oh, and thank you, Cuban. I'm gonna look, because what did you say, 1979? So I'll do like 1980s. Makeup. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like the really, really bold. Like the fuchsia colored makeup. Yeah, that's super fun. I'm glad it exists. I like when people do that, but it is, yeah, it's fascinating. It's just so era specific, which is one of the fun things about fashion, is that then you can, you know, see how things change and it can plant people so specifically in a time and place. I have been watching for the first time, and very occasionally, not like every night, but when I am able to relax and turn on something, I have been watching Sex and the City for the first time. Never seen it before. I've only heard about it through osmosis. And yeah, I am a big fan. Big fan. I really, really like it. Sorry, I got an email where I'm like, is this important? Do I need to pay attention to this? But yeah, so I don't know if any of you guys have seen Sex in the City or know anything about it. I didn't realize how kind of nuts it is, but it's pretty fun. It's a very, it kind of has a feel of a sitcom, but is very adult because it's on HBO. So they curse and there's nudity, and obviously it's Sex in the City, so the sex part is talked about and focused on pretty heavily, but it still feels very lighthearted. Like the stakes are very minimal. You don't need to watch these episodes in order to kind of just get the gist of what's going on. So yeah, it's a very enjoyable show. But also to say is that the fashion, because it's or the late 90s and early 2000s, so it's crazy seeing that sort of very specific, because they're in their 30s, so it's like very adult, and they're in New York, so it's like the most fashionable, the most over the top fashion pieces. So it's a very fun show. The only reason I'm going to watch it is because I was a fan of the CW prequel. It was my guilty pleasure. Prequel was based on the prequel novels. I'm not sure I'm familiar. Like, is it literally called prequel? Okay. Whew. Yeah, I had a calendar thing pop up and it like scared the shit out of me that I was horribly late for something, but it's incorrect. So crisis averse. averted. But was it foreplay in the suburbs? That's so fucking funny. That's so funny. Damn. Slag, you're on it. Are you Fire Nation? Yes. Extremely. Extremely Fire Nation. That is like what I identify as, possibly above all else. Yes, it is. It is. Now, don't get me talking about Avatar. But yeah, no, it's the coolest. I mean, what's interesting, if we're going to talk about Avatar for just a minute, and the Fire Nation, is that they're under a very specific, very strict regime during the time of the show, during Aang's era. So, and then Korra, we don't really get to focus or see much of Fire Nation. So it's always been very interesting to me what Fire Nation is like before Aang's era. Because afterwards we know there's the thing with like the colonies and Zuko and blah, 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 blah. But there's like hints of it being the most creative nation, the danciest nation. And I think there's some hints of that. You see little bits and pieces here and there, but I think it would be really fun. Now there's some Avatar prequels that are in the works right now with Kyoshi and such. Do I have, I don't know. I never like to get my hopes up with that. I don't like to read the news on it too much. I don't like to, I don't want to get my heart broken. It's more than anything else like Avatar, and if anything disrespectful is done to Avatar, it could actually hurt my feelings. Where it's like, listen, there is a mad disrespect done to Star Wars and done to Game of Thrones, and like I feel a way about that, but nothing can actually get me going the way that Avatar does. So I'm like, that has to be protected for my own sanity. But yeah, I think the show was actually a book series of the same name, and the prequel novels of the show was called Carrie. The Carrie Diary. Okay, you're ringing a bell now. Okay, yeah. Okay, the Carrie Diaries definitely rings a bell, and that was on the CW, right? But very cool. Avatar Kyoshi novels are fire. I bet the first two and the third are coming out. I am angry with the new Avatar show, the Seven Havens, because the whole world got messed up by some type of apocalyptic disaster, and the animation is more anime than the original. Okay, that's right. I have seen like little stills of that and how the animation is different. Yeah, that's probably the Seven Havens is probably one I'm like more anxious about. Like I would really need to hear good things about it before I take a plunge with that. Now, granted, I had similar anxieties to when Korra came out, when Legend of Korra came out, and I ended up being just as equally obsessed with Korra. Man, I was obsessed with Korra during my Tumblr era, and the way I lived on that website specifically to blog and reblog about Avatar Korra is something that's probably deeply unhealthy, but like I have such nostalgia. If I'm like nostalgia for any part of the internet is like when Tumblr was at its peak, that's when it was so much fun. It was such a good time. But I was on that site in a way, like I ruined my sleep. I was not taking care of myself. I was not going outside as much, like because I had to be on Tumblr. I stalked that site in such a crazy way, and specifically for Avatar and Legend of Korra, which is also kind of crazy looking back because it's not like people that stalk the site over celebrities, or like a band where like, oh, you really don't know maybe what they're up to and you need to get these updates or whatever. Like this is a show. Like all these characters, like what's going to happen is what's going to happen, but some of us are obsessive. But Tumblr era of Korra, that was a special era. That was a really, really, really good time. And I was all over that. I don't think there could possibly be a piece of Tumblr era Legend of Korra art, fan fiction, just general Tumblr posts that I did not see. Like, I was so into obsessed with it. Used to watch so much CW unapologetically. Good. You shouldn't apologize for things that you enjoy. I I'm trying to think. You know what? When I think about the CW, I mainly the CW. What else was on the C? I feel like there was something I was really into that was on the CW. I was gonna say ABC Family, because didn't they kind of like share a channel or something? I more remember how ABC Family had the 31 nights of Halloween or the 25 days of Christmas, and they had like the different movies every day. But when it comes to shows, on the CW, I feel like there was one I was really into. It wasn't a superhero one. Um, by the way, what's your thoughts on the Netflix version of Avatar? Ha! I didn't watch that. I'm not touching that. The second it was announced that they were doing that, I think I have a video on it, like deep back in 2018 when they very, very, very first announced it, disavowing it because I was already like off the hype train of the Disney remakes, the Disney live action remakes. By then, I was already pretty turned off by them. I thought Aladdin was trash. I thought The Lion King was trash. And so the fact that my beloved show was following the same footsteps, I was like, there's just no way. Plus, I didn't understand the point of like, why recapture something that was already made perfectly? You know, like what, like literally what is the point? What do you gain from, well, I know what you gain. You gain like potential, like money. But beyond that, I was like, there's just not, just make something new. Just make a different avatar in a different time period. Because then I don't have like the same attachment, which is of course why they did it, because they want people who have the same attachment to the animated series to watch it. But like, that's just, I was genuinely repulsed by it. Are you an Avatar purist? Yeah. Yeah, I genuinely think it is one of the greatest pieces of art to ever be made. So I'm pretty like I can think of like the handful of things that I would change about it. But I think the fact that they were able to accomplish what they did, especially, so I have a really close friend who works in the animation industry, and just how, which I don't know if you guys know, but the American animation industry is completely collapsing right now. It's actually really heartbreaking because so many jobs are being moved. I mean, they were already being moved overseas, but they're really being moved overseas. Like even the more like white collar safer positions, they're completely moving out of house, out of LA, into places like Canada or Australia, where the unions aren't as intense and the labor's way cheaper, but they still speak English. So like the just American animation studios are being like decimated. It is so nuts. Like people who have been in the industry for 10 years cannot get jobs, at least in the traditional industry, because they just don't exist. It's just not happening. And that's not to say content isn't being made, but it's not happening in America. All to say is learning more and more about the ins and outs of the animation industry. The fact that they were able to pull off Avatar and pull it off as well as they did is a miracle. Like, and it's one of those shows where like shows, pieces of art where like the older I get, the more impressed I am with it, and drawn to it, and just so am I purist? Yeah, probably. I'm possibly an insane person. Um, but we all have our things, right? That we're very attached to, very close to, that we think are perfect or near perfect. And I think Avatar too, it is so linked to, it's linked to my childhood, linked to my teenagehood, linked to my young adulthood. So it just feels like such an intrinsic part of me and my memories and me developing as a writer, because I would say the vast majority of work I put in my younger years was writing like Avatar fan fiction, 1,000%. And the hours that I put into that really helped strengthen me, because I was such an obsessive and kind of a sociopath about it. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a world I never ever ever wanted to leave. So I would watch the show, I would finish the series, and then I would just watch it over again. So there was one summer where I watched it like 6 times, the series in every episode in its entirety. And then at night on my like itty bitty little laptop, because my parents were kind of strict. So like I couldn't have TV in my bedroom. This was before smartphones were a thing. And I was allowed to have a laptop, but it was really shitty and small and did not connect to the internet well. And I just went so crazy writing fan fiction, Avatar fan fiction, and reading Avatar fan fiction. And some Harry Potter and some like other, I'm trying to think, I think there was a minute where I was kind of into Attack on Titan, uh, or like X-Men, and definitely some Star Wars, but for the most part, it was almost exclusively Avatar: The Last Airbender. And yeah, I, I I don't think I ever read as I don't think I ever read as much as I did when I read the fan fiction. So, like, obviously I love reading books too, but there's something about fan fiction that's so easy and digestible that you can just, yeah, I don't know. I guess in a way it's like it's like the CW of reading, but it's like really addictive and really fun. So I don't want to say it's a guilty pleasure, but kind of. I've never been able to wrap my head around fan fiction. How can that be? How can that be? Um, what part can you not wrap around? Slag? Like what's like missing for you? Well, for me, a huge motivating factor. Well, one, I just wanted to stay in the world, right? So like the series was done. This is before Korra came out, when I was like the most deeply involved with fan fiction. So it was like I wanted to stay in the world. So this is one of the few ways that I could like go back into the world. And then a huge, not exclusively, but a huge motivating factor is that there would be two characters in the show who I wanted them to end up together as a couple, and they didn't on the show. So fan fiction allowed for either an alternative universe, like an alternative retelling, or it just kind of continued the story, but then they would like end up together. So those were my motivations. I did write some fan fiction where I followed extremely minor characters, where they got maybe an episode to 2 episodes of screen time max. And then I did fan fiction. It was kind of like a short story exercise, a creative writing exercise, just to get into, yeah, backstory and where they were going and all of that. So I did a little bit of that, but for when it came to reading as much as I did, I was definitely motivated by the romantic pairings. But my favorite was when the fanfic authors actually came up with really interesting plots, and I was still reading like plot. It wasn't smut. It wasn't like a romance obsessed. They would still come up with like a really cool, interesting, creative plot for me to sink my teeth into, but I knew in the back of my mind, these characters were interacting more in a way that I wish they interacted more with on screen. Sense, especially on the immersion side of things. Yeah, that was really fun. And that was kind of before, that was like before I got on before like I knew about or got on Tumblr. It was before the internet was as immersive as it is. So it really was like reading was my only way of getting back into this world. I miss that, guys. Is the internet a problem? Is the internet bad? I worry about it. It's crazy. I feel like I know a lot about how addictive the internet and social media can be. And I'm pretty sensitive to it. And I have a lot of filters in place, I guess you can say, or roadblocks to keep me from getting overly addictive. And I still feel like I spend way too much time on it. And thinking this conversation is actually making me kind of unlock something right now. Like the reason I read as much as I did and I wrote as much as I did is because I was bored, because I didn't have things, I didn't have like earbuds in my ear and something playing all the time. I didn't have like apps to scroll on. Like apps weren't even really a thing. I didn't have a smartphone. I had a really, really shitty laptop, like a shockingly, shockingly bad laptop where like getting on the internet was painful. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just not going to do that, especially if they involved videos or images. It's like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do what I can handle, which is reading. Yeah. But of course I don't want that to be the case because I love the internet. I love the internet. And I love being online, and I love having my earbuds in, and I love listening to people. So it's the dark and the light wolf inside me, you know, battling it out. I think all things in excess might be bad, but it also depends on what corner of the internet you are in. I still remember the fucking dial-up internet. Oh man, I never had dial-up, or at least I don't remember ever having dial-up. Maybe I did, but I don't know. Salvador. Hi, I'm Salvadorian, and I love you so much. Hi, Joe. I love that you're Salvadorian, and I love you so much. Yeah, no, I agree. I know there's, you know, all things in moderation, right? So I think, but with because the internet is designed to be just so addictive, and it's like, what corner of the internet? It almost doesn't matter, right? Because every app is just it's just made to be as addictive as possible. So I always consider YouTube to be a slightly safer corner because at least I can listen to it and I don't have to look at the screen versus an Instagram or a TikTok or a Pinterest or something that forces you to literally like comatose yourself to pay attention to it. I like things where I'm allowed to be like, I can still interact with the world. I can clean, I can go on walks, I can even do a little bit of work and like listen to something. But I think even having something in my ear all the time probably isn't the best either, because it's probably good to have that space to get bored and think things through. I always feel bereft after finishing a good series or a book so much. I'll find any reason to delay finishing. Aw, yes, I know that feeling. Oh my gosh. I think the last time I felt that way over a book series was the Sarah J. Maas, like, Sarah J. Maas, I talk about her so much, but she's like one of the few authors. Oh no, I literally, tangents all over the place. Sarah J. Maas is one of the few authors that I've like just get so immersed in, and I have that exact feeling that you're talking about. But the last thing I read, I don't know how I could possibly forget. I'm working on the review right now. You're going to see the video for it on Monday. But for A Little Hatred by Joe Abercrombie, that was one where I was and I was like, I gotta finish it so I can talk about it and blah 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 blah. But I just kept delaying because I would listen to it over audio, and I was putting it off because I loved it so much. And it's not even done. It's a trilogy. Like there's a second and a third book, but I was just like, oh, I'm having so much fun and it's gonna end soon. Yeah, I hate that feeling. I like to listen to a lot of audiobooks. Audiobooks are definitely better for you than probably sometimes I like YouTube because sometimes the topics can be more particular, but yeah, audiobooks are a great way to go because it's still a form of literature, and I think books are often the highest form of art. So audiobooks, big. I'm listening to one right now that is so good and it's so scary. It's called Nosferatu. by Joe Hill, and it's so fucking scary, guys. It's actually kind of hard to listen to because I get so scared, but it's so well done, and the woman who reads it is incredible. She's so creepy. But I also think podcasts are one of those where I try to, when I can, switch over to podcasts because they tend to be more informative. I've also listened to literal classes and master classes and stuff before. But then, are you getting that much out of it if your attention is also on other things? I struggle with it. I think about these things a lot. I don't know if I have some weird reverence for canon, but I can see how the third party supplements could stave the grief of a finished story. Yes, no, 1,000, again, especially when it comes to fan fiction, if you are motivated at all by the romantic pairings of certain characters, or just romantic pairings in general, if that motivates you when you're watching or reading something, and then the people that you really want to get together don't get together, then I feel like I have to find something. Like I have to scratch that itch or I'll go crazy. So that was a huge motivating factor for me as well. But yeah, if you it's fun to like stay in that world. And I also like seeing what other people focus on, especially with something as big as Avatar, where there's so many different characters and the world building is so vast, and you also have a sense of history with it too, where Star Wars is like that too, where there's so many different things and facets of the world you can focus on, which is what makes it fun, which makes them such compelling series. I am finishing the Damnable Tales anthology, Jesus Christ. Sorry, I need to figure out how to make the chat like 7 times bigger because I keep having to squint at it, which is mostly English folk horror from the Victorian era. Do you like it? Is it new or is it older? And how much do you like it? Because that sounds awesome. Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's one of the best audiobook productions come across. I know. I know. I am going to listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. I am 1,000% going to get into that. I have so many other things. I gotta finish this Joe Abercrombie series that I'm talking about, and then I want to listen to his new book, The Devils. And then I'm gonna listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl, because I've like the way that series has blown up so crazy. I had a friend who was reading the physical books 2 years ago, and he was telling me about how much he just loved the series and how entertaining it is. And then it's like, then another person, then another person, then another person. And now I'm seeing it in Target. Right? And I've actually heard somebody like on their car and they were listening to it, and I was blown away. But I wasn't surprised because it had such a huge fan base that they would put a lot of attention, and it's such a cool world where you can have all these really fun voices and sound effects. So it doesn't surprise me that it's as well done as it is, and yeah, I'm eager to get to that one. That I have a feeling I'll just tear through. Also, I'm listening to an audio drama from Star Trek called Star Trek Con with Naveen Andrews, who played Sade from Lost. Oh! Whoa, wait. Naveen Andrews played Sade from Lost. Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. Sorry, I'm just like, I just had a conversation with somebody about Lost, so I'm like, oh my gosh, Lost. Oh, let me know how that is as well. So the Star Trek, I just rewatched the Star Trek 2009 movie, which was super fun. I was like actually shocked by how much I loved it. I was like blown away. It was so much fun. And I know if that's not like, it's different. It's a different style of Star Trek from other Star Trek shows and movies. My mom is a Trekkie, right? But I am not. Not that I'm against it. I just, for some reason, she loved it, but she didn't raise me on it. Don't know why. I also drew caricatures at a Star Trek festival because, in case you guys don't know, Riverside, Iowa is where Captain Kirk will be born. So they have a huge festival every year, and I drew there this year and last year. So I like dressed up as a Vulcan and got to draw people in crazy costumes. So that was super fun. So I have a lot of affection for Star Trek stuff. I also have a friend who's really into Doctor Who audio dramas, and apparently those Doctor Who audios have won a lot of awards, and that's an interesting world to get into when you get into like the audio dramas and the short stories for Doctor Who, because they have festivals around it, and they have like they give out awards for Doctor Who audio dramas. So yeah, I have a friend who's really into it. I've never gotten into it, but he's told me about some short stories that are really creepy that actually now you're like, I need to reach out to him because it's creepy season. So I should be reading or listening to those now. How do you compare audiobooks to physical books? The experience, I mean. Well, audiobooks, I can get through them a lot faster. I like that a good audiobook reader, I guess that's one of the biggest caveats, is that the reader can really make or break the audiobook, right? So if you're a book that you're excited about but it has a terrible voice actor, oh, it sucks, it blows. I think, for example, the Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, I do not like those audiobook actors. I know they're beloved. I know they're in a million other productions. They kind of drive me nuts. Now, after listening to 120 hours of them, I have gotten used to them, but it was a bit of a slog, and I think in some ways they really bring down the books, but I can just get through it so much faster. But I do think I retain more of the book when I physically read it. Like I remember what happens and I remember the scenes, and I just it can almost have like a bigger emotional impact when I read it. So, because I think I have to focus on it so much more, right? Like you're just focusing on that, where when I listen to an audiobook, I'm usually always doing something else, especially walking the dogs or cleaning or even driving. So my focus isn't entirely on the story. It's going to be always somewhat divided. But when you are on a long drive, it is the best thing in the entire world. And I'm always so grateful to have an audiobook in my back pocket. Hi, Tal. Hello from Israel, I take it. Very nice. Thank you for popping in. Am I Jewish? No. You're the second one to ask me that though, but nope, very much Irish and German and American above all else. If you can't hear the very Midwest accent. Yeah, I can tell you that Khan is a fascinating character. He was originally played by Ricardo from Fantasy Island, but now Naveen is playing him in the drama, and he is even better. That's cool. In Star Trek, World War III happened in the 90s because of a conspiracy called... I'm so bad at reading fantasy words. Aegis created Project Khan, which was the creation of superhuman master race called the Augments. So the strongest of the Augment was Khan, of Shink Warrior, and he took over the entire Asian continent, including the Soviet Union and Middle East, as well as China. Oh my gosh. This is an audio drama? So is it shorter than an audio book? I mean, that sounds really cool. And it definitely sounds like something, especially with the lost actor in there. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna screenshot this chat and send it to my mom, because she's also a big audiobook listener and also understands Star Trek a lot more. So I think she'll be very interested in that. But yeah, is it an audiobook, and can you get it over Audible, or do you have to use like a different player. I used to hardcore listener of Who audios. You have to be a fan to appreciate them, however, because they build on existing lore. Which makes total sense. And Doctor Who's one of those where you know, I think I missed the train on that. They were also huge on Tumblr. So between that and my friend, I did try to watch a few episodes, and I recognized them as being really fun and really creative. And it was like some mid 2000s, like whenever kind of the revamped Who started. And I tried to get into it, but I think I just kind of missed the boat on that a little bit. But who knows, maybe like with any show or property, you just got to stick around long enough. I mean, I don't think you can watch the first 2, even 3 episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender and realize that it's the greatest show in the entire world, right? You got to like put a little bit more time into it. So yeah, but with Doctor Who, man, there's so much time you gotta put into that. But my friend, he's not just he doesn't just consume this stuff. He has been on panels for the Doctor Who convention in LA, specifically for the short story or like short scripts, I think, for these sorts of audiobooks. He's like been on the panel for that before. So he's awesome and very dedicated and very talented. He's been one of my beta readers for my book. He's somebody who, when it comes to storytelling, and he is just so creative. Yeah, I'm very grateful that he's somebody that can listen to my stuff. But yeah, Doctor Who has always been a world I've been a little too intimidated to get into as well. Like, if there's just so much, you know. Which Abercrombie book are you reading? The First Law trilogy was so top tier, and I'm about 20 days from needing new books. Yes, so I just finished listening to the audio of A Little Hatred. So that's the sequel to The First Law. Because yes, agree, The First Law is like one of the best series I've ever read in my life. And this book blew me away. I would put it off for so long because I wasn't sure it could possibly be as good as The First Law. And no, it's incredible. Especially, I will say, especially for me. There's more female characters that are so crazy and so interesting, and it kind of and female characters that feel in a crazy fantasy way, but a little bit more tailored to me, and blew me away. I freaking loved it. I loved A Little Hatred. So it's by the same guy that read the First Law trilogy, so just top tier audiobook listening. Love it so much. And my review for it is going to come out on Monday. Obviously, that's a spoiler review, so do not listen to that, I guess, if you haven't read it yet. But yeah, fantastic series. I could not recommend it enough. Khan. So Khan and his 170 augments escaped Earth when the regular humans did a revolution called the War Against Tyranny, and he was sleeping in suspended animation on a spaceship until Captain Kirk found him. Him in the original TV show, he managed to get the female historian named Marla McGivers to help him take over the Enterprise. They fell in love and were exiled together on a planet. So this audio drama takes place in the years where they're on that planet. That's cool. And tried to kill Kirk in the movie Wrath of Khan because Marla died on the planet and he blamed Kirk for it. In the new Star Trek, he was played by Benedict. Yep. Okay. All coming together. That sounds awesome. But yeah, let me know, how do you find it? Like, can you find it on Audible, or do you have to use like some sort of third-party player to find stuff like that? I actually don't know where people listen to audio dramas. Can you listen to it on Libby too, the library app? hold up, it's a continuation on that trilogy. It is. It's about 30 years in the future, so it deals with a lot of the kids, and it has like a little bit of a, not, I don't want to say steampunk, like a tiny bit of the steampunk vibe, but definitely the like industrial revolution vibe, and it is crazy. It is crazy, but it's awesome. It's amazing. Yeah, Joanne McCrombie just can't do anything wrong to me. Uh, yeah, you should listen to it. It's so good. It's so good. It's like I mean, it's one of the best audiobooks ever. You'll love it. I promise. I guarantee it. You will love it. Because it still has, where it's like complicated world building and super, super interesting, unique characters, with like very specific dialogues, and the way they all interact with each other is fascinating and hilarious. Like, I laughed constantly, but it's also very dark. So it's a perfect book. Perfect book, perfect series. The official Star Trek channel on YouTube has it on their podcast, and believe me, it is awesome. The voice actors are amazing. Okay, sold. Cool. Awesome. Like, that is on YouTube. I will be checking that out. Yay, I'm excited. Thank you for the hot tip with that. What is a female character tailored to Claire, to me? In A Little Hatred, well, there's two of them that are just like, I feel like they're pulled out of my soul, and they're like different aspects of myself, I guess, and animated in these different ways. And one of them is like a hyper feminine but super smart businesswoman, and in the book she's like one of the most successful business. She'd be like if I want to be careful about this, but she would be like if Trump was a hot 30 something, very, very witty woman who has like a lot of power, but is also like, because she's in high society, very, very feminine, and yeah, just brilliant and smart. And the other one, she's like this wild northern girl, and she has like tattoo under her eyes and like bones and weird piercings all over her face and stuff, but she's, and her hair is just like a curly mess, and she's crazy and wild redhead, and she can see the future a little bit, and she's hilarious. Like, she's just really, really funny and very crass, but very honest, and like sees the world in a very honest, blunt way. So they're like, they're interesting because obviously they're in, on the surface they're polar opposites of each other, but they're fascinating. They're amazing. It's a great series. They're great characters. Also, the folk horror Dramable Tales is awesome. It actually made me turn the TV off to read it most evening. Oh, and that's what it's called, folk horror damnable tales. Damnable, damnable tales. Okay. Very, very cool. The folk horror damnable tales. I'll write that down too. Because, whew. All right, well, I think we are nearing my time. Yes, please find me the full title. I will wait for that, because, damnable, like the world from the dam. Okay, cool. Yes, I'm very, very interested in that. I love when, and I find that spooky books, scary books, have a way of drawing me in, that even a really good fantasy book sometimes, I don't want to say doesn't, but it like takes a little bit longer for me to get into. The woman, I can't believe the name is leaving me right now, but it's on the tip of my tongue. The author of Gone Girl and Sharp Objects, That woman, her books, and they're so freaking scary. And those are like some of the only books I can read in like a day because they just draw me in so crazy. And I feel like I literally cannot set them down because they're so, it's like a worm in my mind that forces me to keep reading. It's kind of crazy. Animal Tales, folklore, anthology. Oh, it's an anthology. Okay, that's really fun. Take that down. That is important info. Richard Wells is considered the main author. Did you ever watch Goosebumps? Yes, obsessively. Obsessively. Every time my mom would take me and my brother to Blockbuster, and we were allowed in like the, you know, the kids section, and Goosebumps was like all, I almost was guaranteed to take home at least one Goosebumps thing. I think eventually I got to a point where I'd seen all of them so many times, then I stopped, and then I wanted like more, you know, intense scary things. But yeah, I was a big Goosebumps kid. Yeah, I love that shit. I loved anything that was kind of spooky. So I was really into, and even if it wasn't scary, but if it just was aesthetically spooky. So like the Munsters, I watched a lot of Munsters. I watched a lot of like the classics, like the 1930s, 40s type of films, because I, you know, it's so old that I think my mom wasn't worried about it being inappropriate. But like any werewolf or Frankenstein or Dracula, so into it. But yeah, well, thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me. Hopefully, this was as fun for you as it is for me. It's such a blast to just be able to hang out and relax. So I'm definitely going to be the series about cursed objects. Oh my gosh, there's this really old TV show called Friday the 13th, this series about cursed objects and a team of 3 people finding them all. You unlocked a memory for me. I remember watching, I never watched the series in full, but I saw bits and pieces of it when it was on TV. What channel was that? Seasons for free in the Internet Archive? Okay. Yes, yes. I saw bits and pieces of that when it was on, and I was just like fascinated with it. Wow, you like totally unlocked a memory for me. But yeah, I gotta pop off. I have to get ready for my game night and all that. So, but thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope your guys' weekend is super enjoyable. I'm going to be upping these live streams, so I'm gonna have the video out on Monday, podcast out on Tuesday, but there might be a live stream in there as well. And then for sure my like working live stream on Wednesday where we can all hang out and work on stuff together. So it's not as chatty. It's definitely more a productivity live stream. But if you're interested in that, I'm going to be doing that on Wednesdays. And then I think these Hangout Fridays where we can like chit chat and I can drink. That's fun for me. I enjoy that a lot. But thank you guys so much. You mean the world to me. Mwah, 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 mwah. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.